So in this lesson, we're going to learn a little bit more about Boolean expressions. In our last lesson, we talked about generating random numbers using the math class. And here we're going to take num1 and assign it a random integer between 0 and 10. Same thing for num2, random integer between 0 and 10. So if I want to compare these two numbers, okay, I could compare them this way. So systemout.print. Let's say what our numbers are. So num1 equals, and then we'll concatenate num1 onto there. And then comma num2 equals. And we will concatenate 2. We'll go ahead and let that be a single line. Okay, so now let's do some comparisons. So if we want to decide, is num1 greater than num2? Okay, this will be a Boolean expression because the answer to this is either true or it's false. Okay, so let's go ahead and run. And we'll first see our two random numbers, and then we can compare them to determine if the first is greater than the last. Okay, so num1 is 10, num2 is 10. Is 10 greater than 10? That's false. Okay, so we'll add this to say, is num1 greater than num2? And then we'll concatenate that with the result of our expression, the Boolean, num1 greater than num2. Okay, now we can repeat this with some other Boolean operators. So now let's see, is it less than? So is num1 less than num2? Another way that we can compare them is, are they equal? Now remember, a single equals in Java is an assignment statement. It'll assign a value to a variable. So in the Boolean expression, if we're comparing numerical values, we're going to do equals equals. Okay. Then another way that we can compare these is to see, is it greater than or equal to? And that symbol just goes side by side. And equal to in our expression. And then same thing for less than or equal to, right? We can put those comparators side by side. So let's go ahead and run. Okay, so our numbers were 0 and 7. Is 0 greater than 7? That's false. Is 0 less than 7? That's true. Is 0 equal to 7? That's false. Is 0 greater than equal to 7? That's false. Is 0 less than equal to 7? That's true. Okay. We can run again and we'll get different randomly generated integers from 0 to 10, and that should change some of our results. So this time the first is 9, second is 6. Is 9 greater than 6? True, right? And so on. Okay, there's one more comparison that we can do, and that is the not equal to. So if we have num1 not equal to, right, that's the exclamation point followed by the equal sign. And that would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th comparator that we could use in a Boolean expression. Okay, Boolean expressions are very often used in conjunction with modulus in order to determine if a number is even or odd. So we could do a system out print line, and then we'll say is num1 even? Okay, and then we're going to concatenate, and then we'll do num1 modulus 2, okay, and we're going to see, is that equal to 0? Because if it is an even number, dividing it by 2 will always have a remainder of 0. And then we can check and see, is it odd? So now if we're checking to see if num1 is an odd number, right, odd numbers are going to have their remainder equal to 1. Okay, you could also do this as a not equal to 0, right? And that would do the same thing. Test and see, is num1 a little bit so we can see all of the output. So our numbers this time are 5 and 7. And is num1 even, right? That one is a false. And is number 1 odd, right? 5 is odd, and that came out as true. Okay, so coming back up here to line 16 and 17. So the num1 mod 2, if it's equal to 0, that will always work to find an even number. And num1 mod 2 not equal to 0, that will always work to find an odd number, because if we're dealing with integers, the number mod 2 it's either going to be even or odd. Okay, but be careful with this one. Okay, this will work for all positive integers. But in Java, this modulus is a remainder operation, and it'll fail this type with negative numbers. So it's a good practice to always do the not equal to 0, right, to check if your number is odd. Okay, now since all of these relational expressions, right, num1 compared to num2 with a greater than, less than, equals, greater than equal, less than equal, not equal, all of these can be assigned to variables if you need them to be. So to do that, we would say Boolean and then result, or whatever identifier you want to use, and then you can do your comparison. Num1 is less than equal to num2. Okay, and when we compile that, print it, so we'll output the result. Okay, let's look and see what happens. Okay, and there, see, it prints out false. Now the order of operations or precedence here that's happening in Java is Java will not do the assignment, a single equal sign, until it first resolves any of the Boolean operations that need to occur. And so it's looking at this less than equal to, figuring out that Boolean result, which is false, and then assigning that to the variable.